Yes, good afternoon from whichever time zone you're watching me. For all those people who have always been following me in and sacrificing their time, please. I'm really humbled. I cannot thank you enough, but I have to say thank you. And for all those people who have gotten challenges and issues or problems, please, we also grieve with you. And when you're sad, we're sad. Above it all, allow me welcome you at this wonderful juncture. Please, I want to thank you for everything. I want to thank you for your time. All those of my friends in Kiev, Moscow, those people who are in Casablanca, Khamisat, Egypt, DXB, Uganda, Kenya, Kigali, Rwanda, Accra, Kumasi, where should I say? I really have lots of awesome friends there. Thank you very much for all those people. I have lots of people to thank. I may not manage to thank all of them, but allow me to thank them. Okay, they've really made a lot. They've really contributed lots of what I am today and currently. My mother, my father, my awesome sisters and brothers, thanks for the support. My wife, my son, I don't want to skip that topic because it's a challenge. Thanks very much for always being there. So basically today we're going to talk about some of the golden rules in life, or some of the golden rules to success in life. Whichever place you are, wherever you are, just always have some of these rules. I may not have all the rules there, but these are some of the basic, what you can say basic. We're going to tackle a number of them. We'll go systematically. So if you got a pen, please always find time to write or just find somewhere to note some of these pieces. They're really researched pieces and we take time to put them together. So straight up, we're going to go to the first point. It says, stop expecting life to hand you the things you think you need. Because life is never fair. There was a time my dad always told me, say, Jasper, as a little boy, you'll always think as a little boy. But when you come to grow up, you get to understand that life is never fair. I mean, sometimes we want the best. Or I'll talk about those people, for example, who are working abroad. You wake up or you get into a country. I mean, nobody wants to know what you studied. Nobody wants to know what you are. Nobody wants to know which kind of family you come from, which challenges you're having. All they expect is work and performance, output. So always bear in mind, never ever think that life is always linear or life is a comfort zone. It's never. What we expect in life is not what we get. So stop expecting life to hand you the things you think you need. It's never fair. It will always hit you to the wall. Sometimes, life will hit you and you really feel you're broken. But it's that point that you need to pick up your pieces. Pick up your pieces. Every time I wake up, every time in whatever I do, whatever I touch, I always say I don't want to have my life end on the sidewalk. I always want to have my head high. No matter the pain, no matter the challenges, I never give up. Straight up, we'll go to the second rule. The world will never care about your self-esteem. Now, there is this kind of mentality we have as we grow up. We'll always say, I cannot do this job, I cannot do this, I cannot touch this, I cannot get this low. Now, always have that in mind. Nobody wants to know. Nobody wants to know your education level or your experience levels. No, all they expect is output. All they expect is output. So put other things on the side. For example, you are fending for your family or you are hustling. In life, one of the basic principles, they will tell you, you got to work hard. Forget about, sometimes I sit down and I'm like, okay, maybe I studied to do this or this is my profession, or sometimes put it aside. I usually tell people, if it means folding your sleeves, fold your sleeves and touch the mud. If this is the only thing that is going to put food on your table, then go ahead and do it. So forget about that. I don't do this, I cannot do this, I cannot get this low, I cannot. No, whichever job it is, success is success. Achievement is achievement. Whether you're working in an office, whether you're collecting trash, whether you're a gate man, whether you're a cleaner, whatever you're doing, the basic principle is about success in life. Okay, then we'll continue to the third point. You can't make a six-figure salary right after school. You can't make a six-figure salary right after school. Now, there are people, you are an ordinary person. At some point of time, you applied for a job. When you applied for a job, probably you were lucky enough, you were shortlisted. When you were shortlisted, you got into the job. You knew the terms and conditions of the job. But as you begin working, the job becomes part of you. And soon or later, it becomes normal to you. So you no longer mind so much about the job. And the next thing someone will begin complaining about salary increments. Someone will say, we're getting small salaries, I'm not getting my best. Whoever told you? You can't just make a six-figure salary right after school, right after education. No, it's a process. Always believe. I always tell people, if purifying gold was such an easy thing, then everybody or gold would not have the value it has. It goes through fire. There is a refinery process. So if there is a refinery process for such a precious metal, then what do you think about yourself? There is always a channel, there is always a life. You find some young people, they want to live a lifestyle of someone, maybe you're 20 years, but you want to live a lifestyle of someone who's 50 years. You don't know where he's passed, you don't know where he's been, you don't know his experience, but you still want to be at the same level with him. It will never happen. So always believe in gradual growth. There is always a process in life. Everything, be it animals, be it eggs, be it whatever it is, there is a first phase, second phase, third stage, until it matures. So always have that in mind. Be humble. Let things take a process. By taking processes, we learn more. That's point number 3. You can't take a six-figure salary right after school. It takes a system. Then we'll go to point number 4. If you ever think your teacher is tough, wait for your boss to basically scold you in front of your staff, fellow staff. These are some of the basic principles we look at. Okay, you may have a quarrelsome boss. You may have maybe a nagging boss, but always believe that you are in transit. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I always tell people, I've had some of the toughest or craziest bosses. But all the time, or each and every time, someone will ask me and say, Jasper, how do you manage to work with these people? How do you manage to cope up with such a kind of people? It's just very simple. Just know those people. Understand their weaknesses. Understand their points. Learn to connect with them. Amidst the challenges, learn to connect with them. Learn to connect with them. Look at the positive side of it. Look at the attributes. Always avoid looking at the negativity. If your boss is quarrelsome, then be positive to him. If he's nagging, just show him it's okay. You are in transit. You're not going to do that forever. So always have that in mind. Then we'll go to the 5th point. Always swallow your pride. Always swallow your pride. This is very simple. Even God shuns the pride. If you are proud, that is the very first point of destruction. Always be humble. Always be humble, whether you are working, whether you are doing a business. Even the way you talk to the first client, the way you talk to the first customer, the strongest weapon in business, that's the word of mouth. It will always be those people to either market you or destroy you. Swallow your pride. Just live a humble life. Keep humble. I always tell people, maybe you are working. These are some of the funniest things of life. You will find that your boss is less qualified than you are. Don't look down upon him. He's gotten that position with a purpose. So always find a way, even when you're talking to them or advising them, find a way to talk to them. Chip it in a gentleman's way, but don't challenge them. Don't challenge them. There is actually, I remember when we were doing biology, every ecological niche must have one dominant species. It cannot be two. So if you're going to work with your boss, if you're going to be at work, or you're going to do your business, whatever you're going to conduct, always be humble. God always exalts the humble. Always be humble. Okay, maybe for example, you got an elevation. You find people. Let me raise this. For example, you find somebody, in the first place you didn't have a position. You got an elevation. Probably someone helped you get there. You got an elevation. The next thing you change. You change the way you talk on phone. You change your accent. You begin looking down on people. You begin disrespecting people. That is wrong. That is totally wrong. That is totally wrong. Always remain calm. Remain humble. Maybe you got a small department. Don't use it to humiliate people. Don't use it to break down people. Use it as a position to elevate people, bless people. I always tell people, every time you look at such people, maybe you are in office, uplift people. Strong people don't break down weak people. Strong people uplift weak people. But don't break down people just because you've gotten the power, you've gotten the authority. No. Just always have that in mind. Remember that anytime things can change, then what happens in that case? Always be a blessing to people. Be humble. Okay, then we'll go to the next point, that the results from an exam don't justify the means. They never bear the slightest resemblance to anything in life. I remember those days would be at school and you pass an exam and the next thing you're like, wow, I think I'm going to be this in life. Okay, I'll ask you for all those people in the background. We had dreams and they'll ask you in elementary school and they say, what you want to be in future? And you'll say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a surgeon, I want to be an accountant. Okay, let's do a sample space of all those people who are there. How many are what they thought they would be? Nobody knows. Nobody always knows. Life just dictates at times. There are people who probably had dreams. Probably you had a dream to become a doctor. Probably you couldn't raise the tuition to become a doctor. Probably you wanted to become an accountant. Your combination couldn't enable you get there. So it doesn't mean that probably things didn't work out properly. No. It doesn't mean that maybe things did not come out the right way in school or that you become a failure. No, it's just a piece of paper. Just refuse. Refuse to believe it. Yeah, we had some of those people who thought that maybe they would be the ones ruling the economy or way back in school. And things changed. Things turned around. So always believe. If things probably didn't work out for you in school, it doesn't mean you're a dance. It doesn't mean you're a loser in life. No, sir. No, sir. My dear brother, my dear sister, don't believe like that. They say sometimes hard work beats talent. Yes, you could have the talent, but for the mere fact that someone works harder, it finally beats your talent. So refuse. Just don't believe. Don't believe that the results of an exam can justify your future. No, sir. Then we'll go to the next point that says life is never divided into semesters. Once it starts, it grows. Life is never divided into semesters. Once it starts, it goes on and on. This is a very interesting point now. Now, we always had a thought and we would say, okay, probably we studying. You did kindergarten, then you went to primary, you went to secondary, higher. Life keeps moving. Life keeps moving. Life never stops. No matter what you're going through, no matter what economic conditions, no matter the hardships, life keeps going. Life never stops. It keeps moving and moving. So always have that in mind in whatever you do. Just always know it's rolling. It never stops. Time waits for no man. There is a question I usually ask and say, for those who maybe take life simply, or those people who joke with life, always know this. There is a question I ask people. If you got a dying man in an intensive care unit, or a lady on a sick bed, that lady will not request you for anything. That man will not request you for a vehicle. That man will never request you for anything. He's on oxygen. The only thing he wants is nothing but life. If you got anybody dying, or if you got anybody, if anybody had a chance to ask for, that person would only ask for one thing. That person would only ask for life, a second chance in life. So always have that. Life is never divided. So whatever you do, whatever you're planning to do, always have that in mind. Life keeps rolling. Whatever the challenges you go through, whatever issues you may have in life, always know life keeps revolving, keeps going and going. Then always be good to people. Always be good to people. Always be good to people. I cannot stop saying this to people. Always be a blessing to people. When people see you, what do they feel? What do they think of you? What do they see in you? What do they perceive of you? Can you encourage someone? Can you boost someone's morale? Can you be a blessing to someone's life, please? Always have this in mind. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know. People have lost their jobs. I cannot really know what you're going through. I cannot really predict what is going to happen to you today or tomorrow. But this is one thing I can tell you. This is one thing I believe. Always be good to people. Be humble. Be lovely. And be an encouraging figure to people. I've been seeing videos and people are dying. People are dying. People have lost hope. People are dying. In my mind, I'm like, God, what is this? People gasping for oxygen. This is something we never expected to happen. People are gasping for oxygen. People are dying in the presence of their loved ones. People are dying in the presence of their loved ones with no help. Just imagine that. It's so teary. Every time I look at it, I'm like, God, I cannot just imagine. So always believe. Just be positive. Be good. Be a blessing. Encourage others. Be a blessing to people. Encourage the weak people. Don't break down people. Don't break down people. That's my humble message to you. Please remember to subscribe and share this. I believe and hope it can be an encouragement to somebody. I may not know what you're going through. I may not know what is happening on your side. I may not know how your family is. I don't know whether you've eaten. I don't know whether you've had lunch. I don't know what you're going to have for dinner. But believe. Stand strong. Just be firm. Everything will be okay. Thank you very much. Please subscribe, share, tap the notification button. Let's spread the love. Let's spread the knowledge. Let's spread these encouraging words. It may not probably be so very touching to you, but it's meant for another person, and another person. Thank you very much. I remain Jasper. Thanks for everything, please. Thank you, and thank you.